Hi everyone, Linda G here, and I'm with Ness, who's going to give us some astrology aspects for May.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna, folks. I bring the astrology component. Linda brings her psychic hits and tarot, and we're gonna look at May's energies to have a sense of what to expect. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about this
I'm
week?
just tired all the time. I slept yesterday most of the day.
Oh, yes. That's actually a sign of like s spiritual shifts when you need to sleep more because your body's integrating more and it's like it's a lot to absorb, like timeline shifts, things ending, things beginning. Yes,
Wow.
I'm also sleeping quite a bit as well. Interesting dreams too. Are you having interesting dreams as well?
I dreamt I was in Paul McCartney's house last night,
Oh, wow. Was it good?
and I was looking for the liquor,
I
and
bet he would
Linda
have really
and
good liquor.
Linda was there. Linda was there,
Oh, interesting.
and I thought, how do I nonchalantly find his liquor so I can get me a glass of liquor? And I'm not a, in my younger days, I'd put down some, but I don't drink now.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
weird. I was craving a glass of something.
Oh, interesting. Did you listen to his music a lot growing up?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I've always loved Paul. I front row seats when he performed out here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Very.
But it's a lot of work and there's just too many people. So I'm not a big concert goer like I used
Yes.
to.
Yeah, the musician I sent you, Ray, she's actually visiting town, the Levi Stadium, but it takes so long to get out there and like
I
it's a
know
big
it's just
stadium.
it's so crowded.
It gets, yeah,
By the
exactly.
way, I just got a note from Mel. Mel got cut off from my last video. We got a good 45 minutes in, but he just disappeared. And he said, horrible storms here. Wind is blowing like crazy. Dog is freaking out. And I'm heading to the basement. This is totally tornado weather.
Oh, wow.
I watched the Weather Channel last night. There was like 4 or 5 tornadoes happening between Kansas and going up towards Illinois.
Interesting. Astrologically, the thing that would draw to mind for me would be Uranus going into Taurus, but that's not, Uranus is not going into Taurus. Uranus is going into Gemini, which does represent transportation and internet kind of going out because Uranus is lightning,
Right.
electricity. So that's very, very interesting. Oh, I also saw your show with Lauren last week. I loved it. I think you should
Yeah,
have her
she's a
back.
sweetheart, huh?
I I love the mix of astrology and the woo-woo. She does more of it like mix where I'm more in the astrology lane, but I loved how she was mixing both the past Uranus conjunctions and mixing it both with her own intuitive hits, and she talks to teams too, so it's very,
Yeah.
very, very different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
very
really
cool.
cool. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
nice
You should,
surprise to get someone like that.
yeah, no, you should totally bring her
And
back. Like,
tomorrow, I got you today, and tomorrow I'm going to be on with Andre.
oh, good, good. You got a two for like an
I got a
astrology
twofer.
sandwich.
Yeah, yeah.
One, two, three. So,
But
folks,
she
you're going to
said
be really clever.
something very powerful was going to happen this weekend. And
Hmm.
I guess it's that attempted hit. But
Yeah.
I know people are running in circles as, uh, psychologically and through my guides. I'm feeling it was almost laziness. Like it, I don't know if it was necessarily planned
Oh,
or they
interesting.
just, I felt Patel was real half-ass. He
Yeah.
didn't do anything. He just sits there and just joins. He wasn't drinking because he wanted to make sure the boss didn't see him drinking.
Yeah.
But the way they were jolly and laughing, you could tell the first lady was very shook up.
She was very scared. Deer in headlights. Deer
Yeah.
in
And
and
then when those
headlights.
gunshots were going off, people in the place were taking pictures and they ran.
I know. It's funny because the room was full of reporters. So once the shots happened, everyone grabbed their phone and was like, they were hiding, but
Everyone.
they had their phone up, like recording it.
That's real funny. Some guy that was sitting there was eating his dinner. He wasn't going to go underneath. They had a lady nearly flat on the ground
I saw
shaking,
that.
and
Yeah.
he's over there eating his chicken. And then you see other reporters stealing bottles of champagne.
Oh goodness. Well, that whole event is televised, like this, all the C-SPAN cameras and stuff. So, very, yeah, even Dana White. Did you see Dana White, the UFC guy? He was sitting there, he didn't duck himself, and he was like, "This was a great show." I'm so, yeah, I know, which adds to the whole conspiracy theories. So there's a lot of talking heads today talking about whether it's staged or not staged. New media is now talking about if it's staged or not, like us, like, podcasters. But then corporate media is not talking about this is staged, and they're very upset that people are actually talking about that it was staged. Like, how
Well,
dare
what
you?
can you blame us? He staged that Butler one. That's as sure as I'm standing here.
Yeah,
And also said he didn't want any investigation. Who does that? No, no doctor was, had this been Biden, they would have announced from the hospital what happened, how lucky he was, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't want anybody saying anything.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
staged.
No, Joe Kent, before after he resigned, he talked about how Trump was getting death threats, and then the Butler shooting happened, and then his whole demeanor changed, and that was a pivotal moment that he thought something happened to Trump in terms of being intimidated and how it was staged, but it was like more things were happening at the same time, and so. Yeah, so they're saying either two scenarios. One, it's complete incompetence, what you're picking up, I guess, right now. And the other one is that this was this staged event, and the internet is very polarized. The internet is really like,
Yeah, well, you see him running through with the one rifle. What was he going to hit?
I think we're expecting him to be logical. I mean, he had a Caltech background, but he did have gaps in his employment, so we don't know. He might not be as functional as we think he is. And he was told he was a teacher, but he actually was just an I mean, I don't want to say anything negative if people do this, but he was a tutor for an after school program. He wasn't someone that did like I think it's called CBEST credentials and got certified as a teacher in California. He was more of a tutor, but that gets labeled. So it seems clear gaps in his employment. Like he's not completely all together. But oh, did you see the video of Usha in the background when Cole was talking about his invention for
For a
brakes for
wheelchair.
wheelchair?
Yeah,
What are the odds of that? I mean, this is
that is
just a
so weird.
pure coincidence, but the internet is going crazy over that. They're
The
just
other
like,
thing is, if Trump was in that, let me just throw this out here, you
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Part of me thinks it was staged, but you're never going to know the truth because it's Trump.
yeah.
But also, they tend to kill the people, so they can't talk later.
That's what well, but what about Tyler Robinson? There's question marks with him, and he wasn't killed.
Yeah, but now they found out his bullet wasn't the one that killed Charlie.
Yeah, yeah. So it's an
I
interesting,
knew that was going to happen.
yeah, that was, yeah, you read on it really early. I think Nicole posted the video of you reading on it back in October
What did I
that
say?
that it was you actually said foreign influence. I think you said Israel, and that it was gonna come out that he wasn't something
He
with the
wasn't the
details.
one. I see
Yeah,
him walking home.
yeah, yeah. It's
But his
very.
parents helped take money on that. It's really
Oh,
ugly.
oh, you
Yeah.
think so? They're kind of because the grandfather was caught on a hot mic moment. The grandfather was interviewed with a reporter where the grandfather didn't know the reporter was on the record, off the record type of thing. And the grandfather said that that gun, if you're a rifle expert, there's no way that gun would have, shot him. Something about like it would have taken his head off. So, yes. So yeah, and so he basically, but it was an older, he didn't know he was on the record, off the record, and so he was recorded saying he doesn't believe his grandson did it and talked about the rifle. Like if you are a
Yeah.
hunter, you know. So yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, before the White House correspondence, I was surprised it went forward because he doesn't like the White House correspondence
But
dinner.
it feels like he was trying to, he said no comedians. He was trying to rule the whole thing. I'll
Yeah.
come if you do these things.
Yes.
And
And he
here's the thing. He can't say we got to do the ballroom so we can have these. No, that's the press corps. That's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah, he's really taking advantage of the moment and the bunker that he wants to put in the ballroom. And I mean, I intuitively feel the ballroom will never be built.
That's the same
Um,
thing Mel and I were talking about today.
yeah, I think it's I think he's dying. That's just what I want to say. I think he's dying. I don't think he's I don't think he'll make it to 2028. I'll just say that. Like I think his health is really poor. And I think the things they're giving to him now are actually making his health go faster, like
Yeah.
the pep up his energy and stuff like
Well,
that.
look
And
at
so,
him. All those people standing behind him, and he's sound asleep.
I know he wasn't even responding to the bullets, which people thought it was maybe
Well,
he
he
was in
probably
on it.
can't hear very well.
Yeah, they also said something about maybe his cognition. He's not super like the reflexes aren't quite there. So that could be also adding to it. But when I heard the Correspondents' Dinner was a go, I kept thinking of the 2011 Correspondents' Dinner where Obama roasted Trump and talked about the birther videos. And then later that night, Osama bin Laden was raided and killed. And so it was this like double whammy in terms of seriousness. So
Yeah,
I thought Trump was going to roast a lot of people, and then he was going to do an Iran attack that night. That was my intuitive hit, but no, it went a completely different direction.
yeah, yeah.
Very, yeah. If you look at the comments of any videos that talk about the attack, like there's a lot of European media, all the comments say stage, 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 false
I
flag,
know
false flag.
70% of America thinks it was staged.
I know, which is an interesting state of how much we trust the government.
Because this
So
guy that did this was real half-assed. This was a nothing burger.
no. But then that's also showing if he's not stable, he's going to do unstable things. Like
Yeah,
he's not going to think rationally in terms
definitely
of
Melania didn't know because the look on her face.
she was so terrified. She
But you
was,
know, right now, this is the inside scoop, you guys, and I get it from foreign media.
mm,
But apparently, our military has had it with him, and they're refusing to do a lot of things Trump and Hedgehog are telling them to do. And I just feel that people are just, they're trying to keep it on the down low, but I'm telling you, he doesn't have the military people to go in and fight.
hmm, hmm, interesting. We're also having the reports over the weekend that the damages to the bases, the Kuwait base is much
Yeah,
more. And even the report that there was this old plane that's 50 years old, like it's from the 50s. Iran took this plane, attacked one thing, and then went back and then landed without any, with like bypassing radar systems and everything. And so um, it's basically saying, is the US military actually um, we have the toys, but do we actually know how to use them? Like, and do we just spend so much for all this equipment, and a plane was able to come by and go back and land without a hiccup? So there's a lot of doubt in terms of both the U.S. military capabilities, but also the Iranian military capability. So this is a really interesting recipe.
very interesting.
Yeah. Did you hear about the German chancellor this morning, Merz? He said, let me find the note. He said, Iran is humiliating Trump. Yes. He didn't say the US. He said Trump. He said Iran is humiliating Trump. And so that was like a little stab there to see
Oh,
kind of
the Europe
how
is
bad.
fantastic. When they can, they jab them, then they turn that knife.
Especially all this NATO stuff. I don't think we're going to leave NATO. NATO is also financial interest, so I think it's just saber rattling kind of
But the what is it? The
EU.
UN?
Oh, the UN. Yes, yes.
Now that Hungary is out of the picture and they got that new, they're busy putting Ukraine in there.
Oh, interesting. To kind of swap. Interesting. Yeah, Prince Harry went to Kiev last week and he did a speech trying to encourage European focus back on Ukraine because a lot of it's now being pulled to Iran. So he did this really amazing speech about the fighters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, what was I
What do
going to
you
also?
think about the king and queen coming here? They arrived today.
I think, we talked about this before we recorded. The UK people don't want
They
King
don't want them
Charles.
there.
They
They're
don't want him
very
there.
upset that they went.
Yeah, they're very upset. And also, you know, isn't the US government subpoenaing Prince Andrew to come over here
Yeah.
to
And they
so
want the information and they're ignoring it.
but also Charles is visiting the guy that's inside the Epstein files and
Oh, he
so
is?
yeah. Yeah, oh, did you see the 60 Minutes interview
No.
with Trump and Nora
O'Donnell?
O'Donnell? Folks, if you haven't seen this interview, you should watch the clips on
They're
YouTube.
putting bits and pieces on it. Ooh, it was good.
It's yeah, it's like one of probably his biggest gaffes, I would say, all year, where Nora was reading the manifesto and Trump assumed it was about him. and there was a bit of an exchange back and forth. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting for Charles to visit. Do you want to pull cards on that in terms of
I'm
Charles?
pulling chart on
Okay.
Charles and Camilla.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a good visit. Listen, this is about money.
Yeah. Yeah,
This is
that's what I
about
felt too.
some, maybe they're getting a guarantee from Trump for something.
Like
They want
tariffs or
something
something.
from Trump, and
Yeah.
this is, but there's some bad news with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, they're over here stepping right on their country's feelings
Yeah.
to, and it's about money and it's personal money for them.
Yeah, I think so. I actually Googled it. When did we have a last royal visit? And the last time a royal visit was in 2007, Queen Elizabeth. And I thought, what happened in 2007? Oh, the economy. The economy was really poor in 2007. So I could see them having an in-person conversation where it can't be recorded.
Yeah.
So Prince Charles visiting would be
This is
around
about
that.
money. I'm
This is
telling
so.
you, they're
Are they
coming for
happy?
something.
Are they going to be happy at the end of it?
No,
No.
they're upset about something. It might even get leaked out.
Oh, interesting. I'm so curious if he'll do a gaffe the way he did the Pearl Harbor with the Japanese Prime Minister. If you might make a Tea Party comment to King Charles or something like that. Um, okay, what was the other thing we wanted to talk about?
He's showing them all his gold stuff on the walls. Isn't that nice? Doesn't this remind you of the palace? They're rolling their eyes.
They actually live in a real palace. But yeah, that will be quite interesting to see, and possibly the smell that will they will have to sit with him again and notice all those things. Let me see. One other thing about the White House correspondence, and this is adding to the whole if it were staged. I'm still split on personally in terms of where this is. I was saying this before we hit record is if this was staged, I wonder if Patel was more behind it, but Linda feels that perhaps it's not Patel, because he
It
comes
just
out.
feels real half-assed.
It feels, yeah, he feels, yeah, Patel wouldn't have the wherewithal to kind of come up with a strategy like this. But I do want to say Trump attacks the media often. And then when this thing happens, in a weird way, it actually makes the media a bit trauma bonded with Trump, because he's the savior. The administration is the savior. So I wouldn't be surprised if the media is more friendly to Trump in the coming days. We'll see. I mean, Nora O'Donnell apparently wasn't, but we'll see in terms of like what will happen because psychologically it changes people in terms of what they see
Yeah, no,
temporarily.
he's a big lump of clay. Nobody likes him.
Okay, okay. So then let's just get into May's astrology. I know I love Linda's hits. Linda loves the astrology component. We're coming at it from two different sides. So folks, we're going to get into May's astrology and my weird quirk is I have a PowerPoint presentation. This is just byproduct of the corporate world and what I do, and it just makes it easier to frame and focus the conversation. I know sometimes folks are like, "Don't bring the PowerPoint, just talk," but no, that's my habit. So, folks, I don't have a YouTube channel, but I have a newsletter. I do a monthly newsletter where I talk about both. I give you this entire deck so you can look at it at your leisure, but also I give guidance, spiritual guidance on events that are coming up. I use very luscious images to kind of get us in the framing and the mood about what to expect. So if you want to be added to my newsletter, I'm about to send out May's newsletter. Pull out your phone, scan this, and you'll be added. And a little bit about me, I work in futurism, in my regular 3D world. Like Linda worked as a nurse, she used her psychic abilities, her intuition. I use my intuition in the future space. And also, I have a calendar, and I just worked on a booster content to help people unpack their calendar. Everyone who's already purchased a calendar, they should have received the email kind of letting them know how to work with this. But that was out, it's like a bunch of worksheets and stuff to kind of really help them understand how to work with their calendar in different ways. It's like a little cartoon type of thing. And while you use the calendar, you also like learn more about astrology as a whole. So it kind of guides you into all those aspects. So, okay, let's get into it. Let's get into May. So, with May, so April was a very eventful. A lot of things happened. We had Eric Swalwell kind of dropped out, and also not
Oh,
just Eric Swalwell, the Rodriguez. We swapped two people out and in. You know what? They actually say Ruben, the guy in Arizona, was friendly or was his wingman in certain situations. So we might see the Reuben, I don't know if he's a Congress, I don't know if he's a senator or a Democratic
And Pam
representative.
Bondi was friends with Eric Swalwell.
Yeah, so there's some people that might also dominoes might come out later in terms of what's happening. But we had a lot of things happen in April. We had a lot of change. Even what happened over the weekend was quite shocking. And also, folks, in your own individual life, a lot of activation. And we're going to see a continuation of that activation, as well as some new thing that will happen the third and the fourth week around messages, breakthroughs, and epiphanies. But before I get into all that, I just want to talk about who are the winners and people that might be struggling in May. So if you have Gemini or Taurus placements, you are more of the main characters of May. Gemini is the main character because we have a lot of planets piling up in Gemini. So Gemini placements. So notice, I think you actually have some Gemini placements, Linda. You have Jupiter in Gemini.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'll have a nice activation. You'll feel more positive. You feel like things are more hopeful. You might also have a sense of your mind is expanding. You might read a book that kind of opens your mind in different ways. You might watch a YouTube video and you might, oh, I never thought about that. So
Yeah.
that's a type of activation for you. But for other folks, Gemini placements are having a nice activation. Gemini, you're also experiencing Uranus go into your placement. But when it does that, Venus is there, so Venus softens it. But that's something to keep in mind. You're going to feel a lot of changes. Taurus placements are also ones that are activated because they're going to have Uranus move out of their sun sign, and then the sun is moving in. So there's a nice change of pace, a nice shift, but you will notice that. And then the last week, Cancer placements are having a lot of sweetness because transiting Venus will move into Cancer, and that's a benefic, that's a positive planet. Jupiter is already in Cancer, so we're having two benefics stay together in Cancer. So for folks, you want to pay attention to your Cancer placements, where it's in your house. Is it your 10th house of career? Like Linda and I, we're both Libra rising, so we're going to have something about maybe a glow up. It's a good time to take headshots, photos, be on YouTube, share your face and share your image. But if folks have Cancer in their third house of communication, it's a great time to write. If you have in your seventh house of partnership, it's a great time to spend time with your partner. But it's just a really nice phase. It's the last week of May, and then it's going to be most of June. So something really nice to look forward to. And then the folks that are going to experience a little compression, a little bit more of a challenge is the Scorpio placements as well as the Sagittarius placements. And a lot of it is because this is having such activation that these are feeling squished in different ways. And Scorpio placements in particular, because the lunar events in May are going to be really active in that Scorpio. It's a full moon in Scorpio. So when it comes to May, there are two vibes. So I'm going to go to the second one first. So April has a lot of new starts, new beginnings, new ideas, initiating energy. I don't know if you started new projects yourself, Linda, in April, or started new conversations, but it had a really
I
good
got some
energy.
new underwear.
Okay. Well, there you go. Something
There you
new.
go, right
Something
there.
new. You're prepared. So there's something about that new energy, that activation energy in April that will continue into May. And then the third and fourth week of May, we start to have breakthroughs, epiphanies. We might have new announcements. This could be a new announcement of a peace deal. This also could be a new medical breakthrough or a new thing that was invented. This is a great time in May to write. So if you're writing a book, if you're writing a memoir, also if you're a psychic that's more on the air side, the sword side, this is a great time to, have clients, to channel, to do automatic writing. That it's just really positive placements because we have a pileup in Gemini. Gemini rules communication. And then also when all these planets move into Gemini, they're going to trine Pluto, and they're going to, let me draw on this so you can see it. They're going to trine Pluto, and they're going to sextile Neptune. And so each of these planets will take turns being right here, and that's going to cause a breakthrough. This is breakthrough energy, new ideas, new epiphanies, very, very positive. And then we have all these planets continuing to move in this activation of April, and this Aries season. And then we also have three lunar events in May. So lunar events are release valves. You add something in, you release something. And so we're having three of them, which is a lot. It's a lot in 1 month. And we're going to feel that in different ways. And all planets are direct, but one planet will start to go retrograde in May. So we're going to see one, and then eventually another planet will retrograde, another. So we're having a lot of forward movement, but then we're going to start to feel a little bit, some wind in our sails kind of reducing in different ways. Okay, let me go into another way of looking at this for May is through time. So as you can see here, there are three lunar events. We're having a full moon in Scorpio, we're having a new moon in Taurus, and we're having a full moon in Sag. And the month starts with a little bit more friction and resistance. So this is that continuation of, the energy that's coming in for April. We have Uranus going into Gemini. When a planet first goes into a house, it's very loud and kind of bombastic about what it is, and then it kind of settles a bit. So folks, Uranus moved into Gemini on Saturday. Really expect that you're going to have maybe some new changes or some disruption happen this week, and then it settles. But whatever happens this week or for the next, 2 weeks, it's going to be foreshadowing what this overall 6 to 8 year transit will be. So pay attention in terms of where Gemini is in your chart and what happens. But then something happens around the third and fourth week of May. A lot of breakthroughs, epiphanies, communication. Linda, that would be a great time for you to do more videos yourself, because you'll have a lot of insights as well. If you're writing another book too, this is a good time to write your ideas, to do a podcast. Right. You're just going to be, you're going to have epiphanies on top of epiphanies, insights on top of insights. It's also a great time for contracts. If you're like selling a house or it's going to be a good time to work all of those. And then the last week of May, we have a potential conflict, and a potential conflict that might force a decision because Mars will square Pluto. So Mars is in Taurus, materials, what we can hold on to, and then it will square Pluto in Aquarius. So May with Taurus season also represents the economy, the money, what we expect. So there could be some struggle point with the economy or some decision we have to make by the last week of May. So, what we're doing with Iran, it's not quite, we're not quite seeing the full consequences of it now, but it might be towards the second week of May, and then we have to make a decision the fourth week of May that something comes to a head. We might see job numbers, we might see stock market, it could be any of those. Actually, I'm curious, Linda, do you want to pull cards on what this breakthrough communication might happen for the collective in terms of that, if it's an announcement, if it's a peace deal?
Breakthrough communication, fourth week of May.
So when we have astrological events like that, it's just really positive wins in our favor for these type of behaviors. And so I'm curious what will kind of happen for the collective.
Let's see if I can get a hit on it.
Yeah.
I just got done reading for an hour, so I get a little bit
of course.
Off base.
Especially with Mel.
The president. Yeah. Ooh, bad news.
Oh.
Bad news, and we're going to be stuck. And even Trump's not going to be able to help us because he's the one that got this going.
Do you think it's the economy?
This is the economy.
That's what I thought.
Helping each other out, and things turn upside down.
Yeah, because by that point, we're going to get job numbers for April. We're going to have a sense. I don't know if you know, Reuters just announced this. The consumer sentiment. So this is human perception about the economy. Consumer sentiment index had the lowest rating of the economy since 1952. Yes, this is perception. This is how people perceive the economy. This is not like actual behavior in shopping. But Reuters said the consumer sentiment, consumer perception of the economy is the lowest since 1952. And 1952 is when they started to record it. So this is the lowest ever. Yeah. So Yeah, that might make sense in terms of what people are picking up on. Do you want to pull cards on Trump's May? Like, how does he feel May goes? Because he's going to have the Charles visit this week. I imagine he might start. I think he's going to strike Iran in the next
I
coming
think
week.
he's trying to show off with, but the thing is, the UK is not going to work with Charles. I mean, not going to work with Trump or work with Charles for Trump because he doesn't rule the roost.
Yeah.
He's there for some sort of money.
Mhm.
That seems to be benefactor for him.
Yeah. I mean, he also represents the oligarchs. Charles is oligarchs, Because Trump always wanted this to be like a Venezuela situation. He just goes in and goes out. It's not this big long thing.
Yeah. Trump's, ooh, some ending is going to occur. Money is upside down. Some sort of court hearing or court things that's not going to make him happy.
Oh, interesting. Difficult
So,
decision.
some good news he'll like, but the military is not happy. His communication is all up and down.
Yeah, his that's a good segue. For when it comes to May, his it doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good in terms of, let me show you. So for May, we have three lunar events. The first two lunar events are not great for Trump. And in particular, they have to do with his energy and his communication. So he's feeling the first lunar event that happens May 1st. He's feeling a bit wounded. He's feeling his energy is, we have Chiron conjunct Mercury, we have Mars opposite Chiron. So he's feeling a little bit um, activated. He's feeling insecure, more so than he normally feels insecure. We also have Saturn is squaring his Mercury. So his communication is off. That's exactly what you're picking up on. The second lunar event is also challenging for him. We have transiting Mercury, conjunct Sun, conjunct Moon, and that's squaring his Mars. So there's something about his words are fighting, his words are activating. He's very hostile. He's being very irritating to people, and they're not getting along. And
That's true.
he's lashing out in different ways. I want to say the first two lunar events, he's lashing out. And it's also on display. This is on his midheaven. So around May 16th, he's going to say something that's very much on display. And it's almost like, well, I didn't mean that, but then they're not going to, it's a bit of a disconnect of that. And he's going to seem weak in some way. He's going to feel weak. He might even be tired in public. Something happens around that.
Oh, he's always passing out in public.
Yeah, even the White House Correspondents' Dinner, he was kind of a bit swaying in terms of his, yeah, I was surprised afterwards. I thought he would be more pepped up. But then the last full moon is actually really good for Trump. He does have Mars squaring his Pluto, so that's also that aggression thing we're seeing throughout, but it's a
Yeah.
lot better. And his June is really nice too. So when I was doing his 2026, I talked about he has a lot of exit ramps, but June is a pretty solid period. And then he's fine till like about July, August again. So if he makes it to June, if he's not removed or anything like that, we might not have this whole 25th Amendment-ness until August again. There might be a bit more of his behavior then. So yeah, that you're picking up on that as well. And so folks, on an individual level, when it comes to the lunar events, we have the full moon in Scorpio this week, which is about releasing, letting go. Scorpio, Pluto ruled. It's very much about darkness, hidden things, trauma, psychology. But when this happens, there's a sextile and trine, so there's a bunch of breakthrough energy that will occur. Something about new epiphany. So as you're letting something go, you're going to access a whole new dimension, a whole new reality. So this is a really inspiring point. But there's a lot of power struggles around this. Like, where is your energy and your power draining from you in different ways? And where do you want to call your energy and your power back to you? Where are you being mistreated? Where are you shortchanging yourself in different ways? That's the vibe of this full moon in May. And you can pause this video and read this, or if you're in my newsletter, you'll have the guidance here on what actions to take. Then the new moon in Taurus, new moon, new beginnings, new starts. Taurus rules money, stability, values. And so there's something with this. It's going to have a very harmonious placement, especially with Jupiter. So there's something very expansive with this, like a new perspective. There could be some talk. So on an individual level, if things aren't going great, in your personal life around this point, you have a new idea though. There's something about I need to cut this part of my spending, or I need to add this. There's going to be a plan formed that you didn't think of as you get to this new moon in Taurus, and you can pause the video here and read this. And then we have the last one, which is a full moon in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is about expanding horizons, new possibilities, travel, seeking truth. And there's something about releasing ways where you're being blocked from seeking truth. You're being blocked from being able to expand your mind and learn things where you might be limited. You might have limiting beliefs, where you might be holding on to old narratives. And it's wanting you to kind of lift your head and look across the field, look across the grass to kind of see a different perspective. So that is what I have here for the astrology of May. Do you have any other things that you want to share, Linda? Otherwise, we can just kind of conclude it and give everyone their time back in terms of today's session. Oh, I have one other thing. I did pull
Okay.
cards, not like how Linda pulls cards. I just picked cards that I felt encapsulated the energy of May. So what we're seeing in May, let me probably put this as like this, is we kind of start the month with a bit like the full energy, surprises with this Uranus in Gemini. So something about surprises, shocks, because again, when a planet goes into a house, it gets loud about the themes and then it settles in. And then something happens in that third or fourth week about two aspects. One, breakthroughs, new insights, new information, new messages, but also planting the seeds of the future. So even though things might not be great, the third and fourth week, we have a plan or we have clarity on how we're going to get out of it. So just keep that in mind, folks. Like you might journal, you might write. As much as things are not working for us at that point, like that current state, there is a path ahead. There's something kind of opening up for folks to look at it as well. And then the other thing I also wanted to say before we end is, you and I, we do this work with Tara and we have clients, and I've been, across from you as a client, and I'm like, Linda, when is it going to get better? When are things going better? And when we look at the path ahead of us, it can feel really polarizing, really great, or really, et cetera. And it might be hard to like lift our head and see the progress that we're making. But I just want
Yeah.
to say, folks, as much as the news is like this and we feel like we're going backwards and forward, the arc is moving towards our good. Like we're moving towards a better future. This is the end of this Trump era. This is the end of this, this Middle East conflict. I don't see World War III energy on my side.
I
I don't
never
see,
did.
yeah, I don't feel like we're ramping up in other ways. And in my newsletter last month, I recommended folks to read this book called The Beginning Comes After the End. And this is an amazing book that talks about how life is actually getting better. Like we're getting better when it comes to women's rights. We're getting better to indigenous rights. They talk about the up north, the Kemath, Kem, Kemath Dam got removed,
Yeah.
and they returned the land to the indigenous population up there. I
Yeah.
think it was like 47,000 acres they gave back.
That's great.
Yeah, so we are moving towards our higher good. And if you want to read more about it, the book is really great for that. It's like I think number 10 on New York Times bestseller right now because it's so hopeful. So
Yeah.
with that, Linda, I think that's all we have. I guess we want to talk about for May's energies.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't sat, I'm a little off right now. I read for an hour
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I slept yesterday all day. And then last night, of course, I was up most of the night. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
No,
a little
you're
bit
you're
off.
probably adjusting to the
But
Uranus
I'll
and
sit
Gemini.
down in the next
Yeah.
couple of days and really take a look at me.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
really. Yeah, I think the community will love that. Awesome. Well, thank you
but
so
you
much
did
for
a
having
great
me.
job as
Of
usual.
course. Of course. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, you guys. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for checking in.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.